Okay, welcome to another episode of My Dad versus World Cinema. This is episode 5.
Episode 5.
We're back again. This is the first one that we're recording since we've uploaded some of these episodes. So we actually have people that have listened to us.
Yeah, which we're really glad of.
Yeah, we haven't just been talking into a void like we were for the first 4 episodes.
Absolutely. And the prequels that we did.
Yes.
That nobody's seen yet.
That's the thing, there's the unseen footage that...
Which was the test run, wasn't it? It was a bit like the Hadron Collider. We had to test it.
To be honest, some of that I've just destroyed. It was just miserable.
It was.
I couldn't... I was trying to edit it. And you know when you're editing something and you just want to claw your eyes and ears off?
Yeah, but you see, that's a mistake, because at some point, say I decide one of two things. I either kick the bucket and leave this mortal coil.
Yes.
Or I get a big deal, right? Now, you know this has happened in the past where famous bands or singers go to a new label and have a massive hit.
Okay.
And then what happens is the old label, when nobody knew who they were and they did demos, they try and re-release them as some sort of special limited edition from the archive, from the vault.
Yeah,
but you're missing out. There's revenue there, I'm telling you.
But why are you saying that? Because you're not going to leave this. If anyone's going to leave it, it's going to be me. I'm going to get the deal.
Wait a minute, we're already falling out. Fifth episode.
We're like
fans, there's a split coming in the band.
Yeah, it's like Oasis all over again. Liam and Noel.
Yeah, I reckon. Listen, I'll tell you what, after tonight, my management will call you.
I am your management. I'm your management and my management.
Do you know who's both our management?
Who?
Mum.
Mum, yeah. Yeah, you can't say no to Mum. Definitely
absolutely.
Not.
Yeah, she keeps order.
Yes.
In the force.
We'll have to get her on the podcast someday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, making her watch films with subtitles is a bit difficult.
I think that really is a challenge. I mean, you managed to sort of get me into the light.
Yeah. Like, I know that a lot of people say that watching films with subtitles is a barrier, when I don't think it's that much of a barrier. And that's the whole point of this podcast, is to say, look, it's not a barrier, it's only a barrier in your mind. But I think for her, she actually just can't read them fast enough.
Yeah. And I think that's a processing thing from when she was a child.
Yeah. See, if she'd have grown up on Jean-Luc Godard films, you know, because she was growing up in the 60s and 70s.
Are we now going to... We're now... I mean, if Mum sees us, we're in trouble.
Because
this is... If we get in too deep and too derogatory,
yeah,
we spoiled it.
But she doesn't know we're even doing this. This is like...
no, she does.
It's like Fight Club. Have you told her about Fight Club now?
I've told her about it. First thing of world cinema is... What is the rule?
Well, we clearly don't have any rules, do we?
No, we don't have any rules.
We can just break them as we wish.
By the way, before we go any further, I'm in a celebratory mood.
Yes.
Because not only is this the 5th podcast, but it's the first one since our top pick for the Academy Awards won. So last time we were recording, we talked about Parasite, the film by Bong Joon-ho. That we loved.
We loved it. Because we'd seen it just a few days before. I'd seen it for the second time then. But we were recording on the night of the Oscars. So we had no idea what was going to happen. And to be honest, I was in a bit of a cynical mood. Because I thought, you know, even though it has so much love behind it, so many people, you know, really want to, like, see it do well. You know, it's a foreign film in the Oscars.
Yeah, but I believed in some universal spirit somewhere. Yeah. I thought that quantum physics was playing its part. So just as we were here in Manchester and we were talking about Parasite and we were talking about its power, that in some way connected across the Atlantic, across the US, into... Is it still Grauman's Chinese theatre they do it from?
I think it is, yeah.
All right, okay. But wherever it was they did it from, and we connected across the ether with them.
You do realise you sound crazy right now.
What's new? What's new?
Don't get him started on UFOs as well. We're not... No,
coming up with an episode.
No, we're not
starting... That's my vanity project.
I wish I'd never even brought it up now. But anyway, yeah.
Well, you won't be saying that when we get to first and... What's it? Close encounters.
First encounter. Brief encounters of a...
Yeah, brief encounters of the fourth kind.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Parasite did amazingly well.
Brilliant. Great. Love the film.
First of all, the first award that it won, Bong Joon-ho won for Best Screenplay.
Yeah.
Which, again, for a screenplay in a foreign language to win, a big American award was incredible. He then won Best Director, Best International Film, and then, of course, Best Picture. Which it's the first time an international or world cinema or foreign film, whatever you want to call it, has won Best Picture. And this is also the third movie ever to have won the Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival and the Oscar for Best Picture.
There you go.
And both of the other films weren't.
And what I loved about it was watching the reaction of the other nominees.
Oh, yeah.
When he won. Because
exactly.
Because the absolutely outpouring of warmth and emotion for him was missing. They didn't seem that happy.
What?
Well, I watched a couple of them, and I could see that they were a little bit disappointed. Not the Koreans, but some American.
No, but did you not hear? So when he won Best Director, he gave a speech and he called out like Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino, and then the other guys.
The other ones.
He didn't really mention Sam Mendes and Todd Phillips. But then when he won Best Picture, when it was Jane Fonda who announced it, wasn't it? When she announced that Parasite won, it sounded like someone had just scored a big football.
It was great, but there were certain faces I saw in the crowd.
Oh yeah, but there's always
looked a little bit disappointed.
There's always going to be certain faces.
But wait a minute, what was good from the front row?
Oh yeah,
was when they started trying to turn the lights off.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? The Oscars obviously aren't equipped for winners to be speaking in another language because you've got to have them speak and then the translator.
Yeah.
So you can't call them off at the same time. Surely they should get double the time, shouldn't they?
So yet again, when they started to lower the lights and
they start playing that music, don't they? That everyone hates.
Well, I think that was bad.
But yeah, people in the front row like Tom Hanks and Charlize Theron, they were like saying, "No,
wait,
bring it up, bring it up."
Yeah, so good.
Yeah,
good to see some solidarity.
Yeah,
amongst the multimillionaires.
Exactly
on that front row.
Yeah, Tom Hanks was just sweating since the Golden Globes because he was a meme the next day after that.
Was he? Oh well, yes, after
only because
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais said something about everyone being friends with Epstein, and Tom Hanks just
made this strange face,
and it wasn't clear whether he was like, "Oh gosh, are they talking about me?" or talking about all my friends, and oh gosh.
No, I don't think it, because Tom Hanks is Saint Tom Hanks to me.
Exactly.
That man has a blameless reputation.
Yeah.
And he played Mr. Rogers.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, that's like typecast.
I've not seen it, no.
We'll have to go and see that and talk about it.
Yes. I mean, it's not a film I'd consider world cinema. But the lines are blurry, who knows? But anyway, Parasite, great. This is probably the best Oscars results in a long time.
Yeah. So we enjoyed it.
Yes.
On to tonight's episode.
Yes. So we are going to be talking about another world cinema film. This time we're visiting France.
Because we've visited Germany.
Yeah. Give them a recap.
Spain.
Yep.
Czechoslovakia. Korea.
Yep. South Korea.
South Korea. Not North Korea.
No, I've not
yet.
I've not seen any films there.
And I'm not saying anything about nothing about North Korea. I'm not saying
I'm going to edit this out.
Yeah, because the thing is, we could be hacked.
Yeah.
Your lights could be turned off. Anything.
Wouldn't it be spooky if the lights just went off?
Brilliant. And we would say it's to do with hacking, when really it's just because we haven't paid the electric bill.
Yeah. I should have got someone to switch the light off just then, and we would have gone viral.
Yeah, but you're going into the special effects then.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing.
We don't have the budget.
It's a whole different thing. But getting back to...
Yeah, so we're visiting France. It's France in the 50s as well.
And can I please say it, because I've been practicing all day?
Okay, yes, because, well, not all day. You've been practicing weeks for this. But yeah, go on. You announced the film that we do have in the background, by the way, if you can make it out. Yeah, I have the Criterion disc on display.
Is Le Diabolique?
That's close. Les Diaboliques. I don't know.
Okay.
Why do we say it in a weird way, though?
And did you see I shrugged as well? It was like Le Diabolique.
Les Diaboliques, yeah. Which, is often just called Diabolique in English. Or sometimes devils or demons, something like that.
And the 1955 version, not to be confused with the 1996 remake.
See,
I'm sorry, you told me not to mention it, but I had to.
I know. Well, I told you not to mention it because we've not seen it. So I don't want to slander a film we've not seen. But yeah, I've heard it's not good.
So this one, yet again, French film.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I'm always thinking French films, full of sex, full of emotion, full of thrills and no. Well, no, this is different. This is different.
Yeah. Well, anyway, before we get into this, we've got a little thing for our viewers and listeners out there, haven't we?
Yeah, because we're now glad that we've actually got some viewers.
Yeah. So
maybe some listeners.
We've had some lovely feedback from people.
It's been great because we did gird ourselves and brace ourselves for a torrent of abuse.
Yeah.
Not that we're inviting any of that, by the way.
No.
But some of the comments were lovely.
Yeah.
And in fact, well, we've had some. I mean, you've got some of the people that, and it's not an exhaustive list, but just some of the people that commented. And we do like comments. We do want people to tell us what they think, but besides that, to tell us what they would like us to view and speak about. And it's been great because quite a few people have done that. They've given us lists of films that they think we should watch.
Yeah.
And in particular, one I was drawn to, and you're going to mention a few people there.
Go on, you mention it.
Was we obviously being non-intellectuals, we were talking about the Fireman's Ball. Yeah. And it being a Czech film, or a film from Czechoslovakia in the 60s. And we did say that we were interested to see where that fitted in a cultural stroke political sort of sociological point.
Yeah, because I said that I thought there might have been satirical undertones to it that it's gone over our head because we're not history buffs, we're film buffs.
Well,
at least I am.
Did we hit gold? Because
we did.
Somebody called Andrew, and hello Andrew Powell.
Yeah, Andrew Power. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and we've got to give a big shout out to him because that gentleman is currently doing a dissertation on that particular period in Czech history.
Yeah, specifically on film, so on Czech New Wave.
Yeah.
So we talked a bit about the Czech New Wave, like Miloš Forman, Ivan Passer.
And if you go to the comments on our YouTube channel, and you look at the Fireman's Ball, he's given a very expansive explanation.
I think he actually just copied and pasted his dissertation, which.
But fair play to him because what it did is. It proved something to me that somebody was watching it. Somebody realised that we were a little bit out of our depth on the political context,
of course,
and very kindly took the time and effort to comment on what we were doing, but secondly to provide that context. And it was a little bit like having a DVD bonus feature in the comments.
Exactly. See, this is the thing about comments on YouTube. I think a lot of people think that comments are there to like praise the video maker. That's not what our comments are about.
Or to have a go at them.
Exactly.
But what we want it to be is the comment section is something for you, the viewers, and people who are listening to go to YouTube, and to add into the conversation.
Yeah, it's a conversation, and this is something that my friend Daisuke Beppu. Yeah, he has a great YouTube channel which I've mentioned many times. A lot of people go into his comments and they leave these really thoughtful, well-described comments about the film for other people to then come and read and join in the conversation.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of thing we want to build here.
So just running through some of the people this is not the exhausted list because we will, as you comment more, we will get to you in the comments and give you a shout out.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, everyone that commented and watched and mentioned and liked it and all this kind of thing. Thank you so much.
So Andrew Power, we've mentioned.
Yeah, so I'm going to go through God, I can't even speak now. That's not good for a podcast.
You're getting emotional.
I'm tearing up.
And I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to thank my producer and my writer. Go on, fire away.
I'd like to thank Aaron at the Movies. So Aaron is someone that, I followed on YouTube for a long time and I follow him on Instagram and things. He left a good comment, and he also recommended some films for us to talk about.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
This is what a lot of people are doing. He recommended a film called The Hunt.
An 8.5.
8.5 you mentioned, yeah. You know who that's by, don't you?
No. I'm not a film buff.
No, you're not. True.
This is the premise of this whole thing.
You've heard of Federico Fellini, haven't you?
Federico Fellini.
So
yeah.
8.5 is like, many people consider his opus.
I think I had a suit made by him once.
But anyway, moving on. So yeah, thank you very much, Aaron.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Then there's Joel Barish, or Barish. Sorry, I might butcher people's names. It's always very hard to get names right. But yeah, Joel left a few comments. He left loads of great recommendations, particularly the ones I picked out. Jackie Chan's Police Story.
Yeah, which we love.
We love that, and we will be talking about Police Story.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Tampopo.
Well, yes, because you see, I'm halfway through Tampopo.
Halfway through. I did mention on another podcast that you fell asleep during Tampopo.
But that was only after I'd watched another film.
It is. And you're at that age where it's not because of the film. You're at that age where, one film at a time is all you can do, really. So
yeah.
But Tampopo is definitely coming up. It might be our first Japanese film that we talk about. Then there was Thomas Wilk, right?
Yeah, Thomas Wilk.
Well, you love Tom because
I do, honestly, because he's made a couple of really nice comments and good comments.
Tom, or Thomas.
Let's not get too familiar.
I know we
have to treat these people as guests.
Yes. He said you are hilarious about you.
Well, that's why I love him.
Look, Thomas, it's okay to be wrong sometimes. We're all wrong sometimes. But yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. It was very kind.
Then again with the name, sorry about this, Hallgeir Olsen.
Yes.
He left a few very good comments as well. Now he recommended Stalker, which is Andrei Tarkovsky. Now I've mentioned Tarkovsky a few times to you. He's a Russian director. He made these films which are quite intimidating, I'd say, for someone who's new to cinema in general, not just world cinema. So we are going to get onto Tarkovsky.
But you need to build me up.
I need to build you up because if I put you into the deep end right now, you'd probably cry and just never do this again. And we don't want that. Then there's my friend SJS Films.
Yeah,
he has a great YouTube channel as well. He recommended a load of films, particularly by Ingmar Bergman and Akira Kurosawa. Two people you've heard about but never watched. Seven Samurai, exactly. I'm sure we'll do that at some point. Then Atelier Iris.
Yes.
Left a comment when we were talking about M by Fritz Lang, just mentioned Manhunt, which is one of Fritz Lang's films. That was when he went to Hollywood. So I mentioned,
yes,
when he was doing film noir in Hollywood. So Manhunt's a great film. I've only got a few more here. Chris Mohan, he mentioned that he really loved the El Sur podcast.
Yeah.
El Sur is such a great film. I mean, we talked a lot about it, but it's very easy, isn't it?
Yeah, and emotional.
It's emotional, but it's. I find it quite an easy watch
and resonates with most people.
Exactly, it's about childhood,
child-parent relationship,
and the magic of memory and childhood and all that. Chris also recommended Tampopo. So
I've definitely got to watch the rest of it. Then.
You've definitely got to watch the other half. And then my friend Stu Talks. Stu also has a podcast about film, by the way. Stu said we both have lovely, soothing voices, and so get your hearing checked, Stu.
And who was it said? Does your mother talk the same way?
Yeah, I thought it was a very rude thing. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
No, because your mother actually talks like this. Here, Elliot, go and get your dinner.
Is she a goblin?
Oh God!
But yeah, no. Thank you very much for all the comments.
No, thank you, because we do appreciate it. Because to be honest with you, for the first 3 or 4 that we've done, we didn't know whether this might be nobody watch it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I thought it was just going to be a disaster. I thought
there's time yet.
There's time yet. I mean, it's still a train wreck. This is still a train. It's just not a disaster.
Yeah, but you see, we're making it. You can have a train wreck that's a spectacle.
That's entertaining.
Yeah, because look at people. They go past the train wreck and they slow down just to watch.
Well, you take a picture as well and post it on Instagram and put a filter on it.
Anyhow, back to this film.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Diabolique. Okay, so this is a French film from 1955. It's of the thriller genre, I'd say. It's a very thrilling story, anyway.
Yeah, because I was yet again, as we always say, I didn't know anything about the movie. I wasn't expecting it, but it turned into a great murder mystery thriller.
You were hooked, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's directed by Henri-Georges Clouzot, who is a very prominent director from the time. He directed many great French films.
I thought it was had a hint of Hitchcock.
Well, this is the thing, right? So many people, they describe Clouzot as the French Hitchcock. I like to think of it the other way, that Hitchcock is the American Clouzot, or English Clouzot, American Clouzot, however you want to, say Hitchcock is. But yeah, he was a great director of the time, very good at doing these thrillers. Particularly, he made a film called Wages of Fear, which is very thrilling.
And what you told me as well is, because obviously I had to look at the cast, and the only name that jumped out was Simone Signoret.
Simone Signoret, yeah. So she was a big French actress at the time.
Because what you'll know in our conversations, that the odd time I'll mention a name, it's not because I know anything about that person. It's just I've heard it in the ether.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you've heard all these names and places and titles, but you don't have anything of substance to back it, do you?
No, and I need a framework in which to hang them.
Well, that's what this podcast is for you, at least. This is an education. This is your learning.
That I never got.
No. You've been sorely missing it, actually. So this is what...
I didn't get any education.
No. So we don't need no education.
School of life. We don't need no education.
Oh, gosh. We're breaking out into song now.
So, let's turn this into a musical.
Yeah,
so Diabolique.
Yeah, so I'll just run through a bit of what the story is about. So it's set at this school in Paris. Is it Paris? No, it's just in France, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like a boarding school for young boys. And it's run by this headmaster who's a bit of a...
He's nasty.
He's nasty.
He's nasty.
Nasty Nigel. That's not his name, but that's what I'm going to call him.
He's nasty Michel, from what I remember.
Yeah, Michel, yeah. And then there's his... he's got a wife who... So she owns the school, I think, or she's funding the school.
She's got the money.
Yeah. So he's with her for the money, but because he's a man, he's in charge. That's the times it was.
It's great. Everything's changed.
Yeah, so much has changed.
Yeah, so much has changed.
But anyway, she helps run the school with him. She's a teacher there. And then there's this other woman, played by Simone Signoret, who's another teacher. Now, she's a bit more, I don't know, I was going to say feisty. She's not feisty. She's just a bit more... Whereas the headmaster's wife, Christina, she's a bit more delicate.
She's wild. Well, not wild. She's mild.
Yeah, she's very mild, delicate. She has heart troubles. So she's always like very short of breath and fainting and things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas Simone Signoret, she plays this kind of hard woman.
Wench.
Well, that's a bit derogatory. I wouldn't say that.
No, but I mean, from the time... So she plays the classic other woman.
Yeah, she's tough. I'd say she's tough.
Yeah.
And there's been a bit of a fling between her and the headmaster.
But interestingly enough, without giving the plot away, the two women seem to have a common purpose that really both of them don't like him.
Yeah, they both don't like him, so they're kind of uniting against him. So they have a plan. They're conspiring, essentially. And then, I don't want to go too much in spoilers, but it doesn't go to plan for them. That's what I'll say.
So something happened, but it don't go to plan.
No.
And then there are big changes as we go through the movie.
Yeah, big changes.
Big changes. And there's lots of thrills.
Lots of thrills, yeah.
There's suspense.
Oh, the suspense in buckets.
A bit of horror.
Yeah, particularly towards the end, yeah. Tons of horror.
But a great ending.
Yes.
That's all we can say.
That's all we can say, because actually, like in this podcast, we usually do a spoiler section after talking about the film generally. But actually, at the end of this film, there's a title card that comes up, a message from Clouzot himself saying, please do not go out and tell your colleagues and your families and your friends about what happens in this film. This was the original anti-spoiler card.
And of course, if we were in France at that time in 1955-56 and we had seen that, we would have done... Well, we'd have gone and told everybody what it was about.
Yeah. I mean, you're just a blabbermouth.
Blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, that's what we'd have done.
That reminds me of There's a famous bit in the Simpsons episode when Homer's just coming out of seeing The Empire Strikes Back. And he's like, I can't believe it. He was his father all along. And there's this big queue of people. Yeah, that would be you.
Yeah.
You're very much like Homer. I don't know why, but, you know, Homer Simpson.
Physical characteristics.
I was just going to say knowledge of world cinema, but if you want to go...
What's happened is you're saying knowledge of world cinema. Meanwhile, all the viewers are going, yeah, he does look like Homer Simpson.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. So, yeah, the plan that these two women have against the headmaster, well, it doesn't go to plan. So that's all we'll say about the plot. But in terms of why this film is great, I mean, you've touched on it a bit. There's the suspense and the thrills. The story is really well put together. There's never really a moment when it lingers, is there?
No, and it goes in a direction that you don't expect it to go.
Exactly.
You genuinely don't expect it to go in that particular direction, and it does. I think it's, as a piece of storytelling, as a mystery thriller, it really works. And for the time, I saw lots of things in that film that later film directors and TV producers and directors have used certain mechanics.
Well, here's the thing, right? Many people compare Clouzot to Hitchcock, like I mentioned, but Hitchcock himself was a fan of this film because initially Hitchcock wanted to adapt the book that Diabolique is based on, and he couldn't get the rights because Clouzot got there first. But you can see in this film, you know, a lot of Hitchcock-isms. Now, obviously, Hitchcock went on to inspire so many filmmakers. So looking at Clouzot's films, yeah, you can see things that lots of people have taken.
You've told me something. There's a connection between Hitchcock and Clouzot. And you told me about one of the characters in this actually plays a character in the Cary Grant. What's the Cary Grant?
Well, he's in a few.
Grace Kelly.
I'm trying to Catch a Thief.
To Catch a Thief.
Yeah.
So one of the main actors plays a key actor in one of Hitchcock's films.
Yeah, because in To Catch a Thief, they're in the south of France, aren't they? And,
that's correct.
And there's a restaurant, and
yeah,
it's one of the characters who appears later on in this film, isn't it?
Yeah, and I could see that, and I think that film, Hitchcock's film, came later.
Oh yes, it did.
So I think, yeah. So it's interesting. There's a French character in both. That's the same person in both of those films.
Also, it's worth mentioning as well. The performances are really good in this film. Simone Signoret is great, and I can't remember the name of the man who plays Michel, but he's really good as well, really menacing. But of course, Christina is played by Vera Clouzot, the wife of Henri-Georges Clouzot.
And you were telling me that, was it Simone Signoret couldn't get over all the way through the production. There was a bit of friction because effectively every shot that they did, his wife appeared, because there are certain scenes where it's like she's got like an angelic look or a what's that when they put the grease on the wall? Yeah,
so the way the cinematography is, there's a lot of soft lighting on her, so it looks like she's an angel. You know, she's glowing.
So she looks great, and then he'll do the same shot with Simone Signoret.
Yeah,
and it's sort of not lit as well.
The lighting's all very harsh and noirish. Yeah,
and she couldn't understand. She went through the production. She couldn't understand that.
I mean, the thing is, Vera Clouzot is great in this film, but you can tell that
she's not as good as actress as Simone Signoret.
No, and I think she would have probably said that herself, and Clouzot would have said it. And I think the way he's made the film, he's constructed it so that Simone Signoret doesn't outshine
his wife,
which makes sense. And I think that helps the film overall.
And there lies in a philosophical point that we have to make, that never ever, if you're working with your wife, let any other woman outshine her.
No, definitely.
That we'll put that as one of our shibboleths, or whatever you might call them, or commandments in stone. So remember that out there. If you're ever doing anything, don't let somebody else that's working with you outshine your wife if they're both working together.
Thou shalt not let another woman outact your wife.
Correct. So that's the premise of the film.
That's the premise, yeah. So honestly, it's thrilling if you like Hitchcock go and watch this film. It's available in the Criterion Collection. There are great special features. It's just a great film.
So are we going to give it a bit of a... Do we do the spoiler?
Yeah, so we're going to go into spoilers now. So, as always, you've been warned. Click off, come back at any time, because we'll still be here. We're always here.
Yeah, we don't venture outside of this room.
No.
In fact, if you could see that the door opens slightly and somebody just slides food in, that's why we don't get any exercise. That's why I look like this. When I started
Stop making excuses.
I'm trying to make an excuse. When I started preparing for this, I was 10 stone and had dark hair and lots of it.
Is it that stressful, this podcast?
Well, I found it, because we've got to be top of our game.
Yeah.
If only we knew what game that was.
Yeah. Gosh. Anyway, we're going to go into spoilers now. So you've been warned. Let's talk about Diabolique in full spoilers.
Dun, 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 dun.
So we talked a bit about how they had a plan against the headmaster. What happens is they kind of run away together to where Simone Signori's character is from, don't they?
That's right. So it was New York, if I remember, because you mentioned, wasn't that where Clouzot was from?
Maybe, yeah, I think so. But they go there anyway, and then they hatch this plan to poison him. So they poison him, and he dies, doesn't he?
Yeah, they put him in the bath.
They put him in the bath.
And they've drowned him.
They've drowned him, and he's dead.
Yeah.
And then they take him back to the school.
In a suitcase.
In a suitcase. And there's a tense moment, isn't there, when they need to bring the suitcase into the car, and some man comes and helps them. And the top almost comes out over, doesn't it?
And I love that, because what they were doing, obviously, which is a favourite scene of mine, and I think what we're going to do, instead of going through the whole thing, we'll just talk about...
Yeah, of course.
I think 3 big favourite scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And one was that the suspense, because the neighbours or the landlady on the floor below, they were complaining about the music.
Yes.
From upstairs. And, of course, they had the music on because they were trying to drown him.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously all the water running and whatever. And then, of course, you had that bit of a scene where they brought him back. Now, of course, then we've got the next scene is where they obviously deposit him into the they put him in the school swimming pool.
Yeah, so they get back to the school, and I think it's before all the children are back from holidays, isn't it?
Yeah.
They dump him into the pool, and this pool hasn't been kept very well, has it?
No. So what they're hoping is at some point he's going to be discovered. His body's going to float up.
He'll float up, and some child will find him, and
then there's a tense piece where the following day, I think Christina, the wife, is very nervous. She keeps looking out the window.
Yeah. Well, she does something, doesn't she? Doesn't she throw something in? Like she throws...
Yeah, she throws something...
Is it the keys or something?
Yeah, and she wants one of the boys to go in and jump in.
Yeah.
And I think what she's hoping is going to find the body.
Exactly.
So then they go through a whole piece where I think they drained, if I remember, they drained the swimming pool.
And then there's empty.
Nothing in there.
Dun, dun, dun.
So there's nothing in there.
No.
So where the hell's he gone?
Exactly. And that's where, like, the film goes off in a different direction.
And I thought it was great because we had little pieces, like, for instance, a little boy says he got chastised for doing something
by the headmaster.
The headmaster.
And of course he's dead. So how did that happen?
Exactly.
And what I love about this film, because it's in the second half of the film where it sort of turns into a horror, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it takes off. The real story takes off.
I think that bit when they realise that he's missing from the swimming pool and the little boy says that he's seen him and stuff like that, it's got this supernatural element, doesn't it?
Yeah, because
you start to wonder, is this a bit of a ghost story?
Yeah,
perhaps?
is he come back from the dead in a supernatural way?
Because we saw him get poisoned and drowned, didn't we?
Yeah, and he was fully dead.
Yeah, and it's only because Simone Signori's character was in on it.
Yes, because of course where it really then starts taking off is we see Christina start to become more emotional, and she's hearing things and seeing things,
and her heart's getting worse, isn't it? Yeah, she's so stressed.
And so eventually she gets to the point where he rises out of the bathtub, if I remember.
Oh yeah, and that is very creepy,
really
isn't it?
Creepy. And of course she has a heart attack and she dies.
Yeah,
it's at that point that the two individuals, the two main protagonists, Simone Signoret, and obviously the headmaster, we realise that all the way along this has been a setup to effectively see off his wife.
Yeah, probably because they wanted to be together, and also because they want the money as well, don't they?
Now, at this point, I just want...
before you mentioned, I was going to mention that particular scene where he rises out of the bathtub. That's a direct inspiration on Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. There's a scene. There's a scene in The Shining. I know you're not too familiar with the film. There's a scene in a bathroom where Jack Nicholson looks into a bath and he sees like a dead body in the bath, and it's very trippy because it's The Shining. But that is a direct inspiration from Diabolique.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, continue what you're going to say.
So, of course, we mentioned earlier on about the French actor who appeared in both films. Mm-hmm. And, of course, that's the actor who played... I can't remember his name at the moment.
Yeah, but the detective.
He played the detective. He played the private detective. It suddenly appeared when Christina had to go to the morgue, if I remember.
Yes.
And he takes an interest. But very much you could see... for instance, Peter Falk's Columbo.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, so it was a detective. It's very laid back.
Because this is the thing. He does that thing that Columbo does, where he acts dumb.
Yeah,
and he's very casual, but really he knows. He's already worked it all out.
He's worked it out at the beginning, and what he's doing is he's just slowly but surely reeling the people in.
Yeah,
and he wants them to make a mistake.
Yes,
and of course the key thing at the end is when they start to celebrate. The two protagonists, who've now Christina's had the heart attack and appears dead.
Yes.
He then suddenly walks in and says, and you do realise you're going to get 15 to 20 years together. But the little piece right at the end, for anybody that's seen it, which really finishes it off nicely.
It's the real knockout, this bit.
Is when one of the boys says yet again that he has been told off for something.
Yeah. Well, it's that he gets given back his slingshot.
He does,
isn't it?
and they say, "Who? Oh, yeah, it was. That's right. Yeah." And he says, "It was
the headmistress."
Yeah,
Christina. Who's dead. So then it leaves it on a question of what actually happened.
Correct.
Is there a supernatural element? Is she now a ghost, or
did she play along with it?
Was she in cahoots with the detective at one point?
Yes.
There's a lot to kind of unpack.
Unanswered. And
then it just ends, and it's such a perfect.
And that's
ending.
when you get the slide at the end.
Yeah,
saying whatever you do, don't discuss this.
It's such a great ending because it explains a lot. The plot has come to an end, but then there's something to think about. It's a bit like another film we love. Oh gosh, I was just about to mention it, and Being There. Hal Ashby. With Peter Sellers, how the film just comes to the last scene,
and then everything in the last 30 seconds of the film.
We won't spoil it.
No, we can't. But it adds a complete different dimension.
Just a final shot. It's just there's no dialogue. It's just the main character does something, and
it's like wow,
and it just leaves you there like, oh my gosh.
Maybe we should make that our American choice.
Yes,
I'd like to.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, Hal Ashby is a director that I love. So. Yeah.
So yet again, for a French film, very entertaining.
Yes.
So this is the point.
Also,
not heavy going. No, entertaining.
I think when people think of French film, if they've not seen much of French film,
I think it's art house.
Well, they instinctively think of French New Wave. So they think of Jean-Luc Godard, Francois Truffaut. A lot of these directors at that time who were trying to subvert the conventions of what cinema is. Mm-hmm. So they were making things that were very out there, inaccessible, purposefully pushing the boundaries. Diabolique isn't like that. This is very much within the boundaries, but it does it so masterfully, doesn't it?
It was a French film that was in the spirit of Hollywood 40s, 50s, really good detective thriller.
Yeah.
Double Jeopardy. Was it
Double Indemnity?
Double Indemnity, yeah.
Double Jeopardy. That's
a game, isn't it?
That's a game show, isn't it? Well, Jeopardy's a game show in America, isn't it?
Bam, bam. Yeah.
What's that?
I don't know. I was trying to make a buzzing noise and I couldn't think of one. So I just made a duck.
That's not the first time you made a duck sound on this podcast.
Maybe there's something. Maybe I'm channeling a duck from somewhere.
Yeah.
Duck à l'orange, probably. Not Howard the Duck.
No. Gosh, does Howard the Duck count?
Is anybody watching or listening to this I've never watched Howard the Duck, and I think we have to. I think we have to.
Listen, I've never watched it, but I've got it on Blu-ray. So I bought it with the intention to watch it.
Right, we've got to watch that, and we've got to take it apart, and then we've got to work out what the hell was Spielberg thinking.
No, it wasn't Spielberg.
Oh no, it wasn't. He did 1941. That's his big.
That's his
flop.
Big flop. George Lucas. Yeah. Yeah,
well, he's a bit hit and miss, that Lucas guy.
No, I'm a big fan.
So yeah, we have to watch that.
Do you reckon this is the first time Diabolique and Howard the Duck have ever been mentioned
We've put
together?
them in the same thing. Put them in the same review.
This is the beauty of our podcast, is we can just talk about whatever the hell we want.
Oh, and by the way, sponsor update.
Oh yes,
we haven't got any.
No. But
so we got loads of really nice people watching us, who are very supportive, but the sponsors haven't cottoned on yet.
Well, you never know. I think Howard the Duck fan club.
Shall I make some sort of controversial comment?
No,
and mention their brand name in it. We have to go on Twitter.
No, because if we go on Twitter, we'll get cancelled. That's what happens on Twitter now.
Yeah, but we're producing this, so we can cancel ourselves.
No, you don't understand. Cancelling, what this means in today's world, it's not when your show gets cancelled. This is when you say something and then everyone on Twitter piles in and you says, we have to cancel you from culture. So, for example, if we're talking like people that should be cancelled, Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey, those kind of bad people, they're cancelled now.
Did I tell you I'm going out for dinner with them too next week?
God, go on. Wouldn't surprise me. You'll do anything to get a sponsor. But the thing is, some people get cancelled just for saying something.
Well, don't say it, because if you say it, we might get cancelled.
Exactly.
Even before we get to Twitter.
Yeah. But no, I'm thinking of doing a Twitter, actually.
I think we need social media.
We're not on, because at the moment we have our first line of attack is YouTube. And then...
Is this a world domination? Is that big map you've got in your bedroom for world domination?
I didn't mean to reveal it. Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, well, it's out in the world then, yeah.
You're going to hack Universal Studios and blame the Chinese?
No. I'll just blame you.
What's new?
Yeah. But anyway, I think we should start wrapping it up here. But Diabolique, is there anything else you want to say about it? Are there any bits that
really
we didn't
good
talk
film
about?
And yet again, my score as it stands tonight is 5-0.
Yeah.
You're winning 5-0. 0 to me.
5 to World Cinema.
5 to World Cinema.
Yeah. I'm actually getting kind of nervous now about when you win, when you don't like a film. Because I can't think what it'll be now.
But maybe this is your curation skills.
Well, this is another thing, isn't it?
Maybe you're curating this, and amongst all those films up there is, as somebody said in one of the, Thomas Wick said about the hard stuff. Who was it said about hard stuff?
Oh, I can't remember who left the comment about the hard stuff, but someone talked about some films like Sans Soleil and Parajanov, some of his films.
So I think that's the testing stuff.
Yeah, like when we get onto The Colour of Pomegranates, that's a film that's, I struggle with that one.
I might breeze through it. I might surprise you.
You might.
I might explain to you what it's about.
Going back to being there, you're like the Chauncey Gardner. You're the
idiot savant. That's actually on my calling card.
Oh,
Philip Cohen, idiot savant.
Yeah. In what though? You usually have to be a savant at something.
It's a bit like those people that put things on, on their LinkedIn profile, where they obviously haven't been to university, haven't been to school, and they put University of Life.
Yeah. Full-time mummy. That's one you see on Facebook a lot.
Which is not bad, because it is one of the world's greatest roles.
Exactly, but don't put it as your profession on Facebook.
Yeah.
But whatever. Do whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
It would be weird if I put it. Let's just say that. If you
put professional mummy, it would be really...
Yeah. People pay me to be their mummy.
Maybe that's a whole new podcast.
Oh, gosh. We'd get some...
I'm still want to do the Vanity Project.
We would get some weirdos in that one.
No, but I understand what you mean. It's like when people put sort of if you have been to university, you put the university, and if you have got an occupation, you put it down.
Yeah. Anyway, that's our lesson for life, isn't it?
Lesson for life.
But yeah, Diabolique. I mean, everyone who's listening now has watched it. So let us know what you think about Diabolique. Were there any particular bits that stuck out to you? You know, and if we didn't mention particular,
and was there a film like Diabolique?
Mm-hmm.
Try and get a film I can actually pronounce.
Yeah.
But is there another film of its kind,
of its ilk,
yeah, from another country that you think we should view?
Exactly. Yeah.
To see and make a comparison.
Indeed.
There we go. Indeed.
Yes. Well, this has been episode 5 of. I was going to say man versus world cinema.
Maybe
you like man versus food.
Yeah, man. Yes. 2 men locked in mortal combat. That's actually an old trailer line from, I think, an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Oh, no, it was Stallone, I think. And whatever they were doing, it was like, two men locked in mortal combat.
It was like Commando or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got you thinking that, hasn't it?
That has got me. No, I was just trying to think.
Contemplating.
No, I was trying to think, is there any way we could talk about Stallone in a film on this podcast?
I think so.
But surely everything is within the kind of Hollywood.
Yeah, but you see, Rocky is his biggest. Oh, you mean?
Do you know what I mean? If we're talking about world cinema, as in films made outside of the Hollywood-centric model.
No, he doesn't. He
doesn't really, does it?
He's not in that.
He needs to. You know what Sylvester Stallone needs to do now? He needs to do an Uncut Gems type film
with the Coen brothers.
Yeah, or the Safdie brothers who did Uncut Gems. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if someone a good director just took Stallone now and just made like some really serious, maybe not even an action film, just a big.
And that was a great film. We haven't reviewed that yet.
Uncut Gems. No,
Netflix.
We did talk about it though, didn't we?
Wait a minute. I think it was Thomas Wilk mentioned, or somebody mentioned.
No, it was Joel.
Joel mentioned.
Joel said we are an uncut gem.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a good comment, isn't it?
Great.
Yeah, we're shining.
Do we get shot at the end? Is that?
You can't say that.
No, I mean, do we get shot because of making a comment like that?
Oh right, okay.
I don't know.
I thought you were giving away something.
Whoa, then. Nearly. Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa.
There we go.
Let's just rewind and delete that. You sounded. What did you sound like then? You sounded like a
tape recorder going backwards.
Jar Jar Binks. Anyway, we're gonna cut it here because
we're just rambling now.
We've run out of juice.
Yeah. I'm just 1 bar out of the 5 bars.
Yeah.
On my signal.
Yeah. You're short of a few bars, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much for listening to another episode. We'll be back very soon, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not sure what we're going to talk about yet, but I'm sure it'll be as good as ever.
It will be.
All right.
The bar is set low.
Yes. God, you're talking about bars again.
Yeah, maybe therein lies another story.
Maybe. But anyway, thanks very much for listening and watching, and we'll be back soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
See you soon. Cheers. Bye.